It's time for Losses Above Replacement, the best baseball podcast to grace your ears, with your hosts, Alex.
Gosh, I have so many questions. Also, where's my car?
Splash.
Strive to love something as much as my grandmother loves buying new crock pots.
And Mac.
If you've ever been to Boston, you know that they have amazing ice cream.
Coming to you from coast to coast, it's L.A.R.
Yes, friends, it is time for Losses Above Replacement, the best baseball podcast to grace your ears. I'm today's host, Alex Clark, joined by our very own opening day candidates. It is Ryan Splash Potts and Mathias Altman Kurosaki, my main men, as we are just hours away from opening day here. It's fun to say that it is less than 24 hours away for some games. How excited are you guys now that baseball is almost finally here?
Yeah, it's like Christmas morning, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Just been waiting all off season. I know last year, I was pretty excited last year, but this year, I'd say I'm more excited. I would say I'd be more excited if these spring allergies weren't just whooping me this week.
Yeah, fair enough.
I had a pretty fun weekend in Boston, except on Monday, I got home Sunday night, and then on Monday, for some reason, I couldn't stop sneezing. So spring allergies are not great, but opening day, very, very excited for it. This is going to be a wild season, I think. Big 162 coming up.
I do want to shout out the Washington Nationals. Their City Connect jerseys got a little bit worse, but their second foray into making City Connect jerseys, I thought actually went pretty well.
Yeah.
I think
It was a high bar.
Houston improved a little bit. The Nationals downgraded. I would argue the Nationals kind of felt like the 2021 Dodgers, right?
Yeah.
You win 106 games, which is really good, but you're second in your division. You don't win the World Series. They were pretty good, right? But
the Nats, both of their City Connect jerseys are better than other teams connect. Some of the other teams because City Connect.
Yeah,
jerseys.
I think I like I think I saw a second picture of it with better lighting, and I liked it a lot better. I like the cap a lot, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I love the fact that it has it's like a blueprint. I think that's such a cool idea.
Yeah, and as someone who basically lives in DC, big fan of it. Big fan of the cherry blossom vibe.
The cherry blossom that was goated.
Yeah. So the OGs are top 5 with White Sox and Marlins, and we have a list. You can go check it out.
I was a fan of the Red Sox ones, actually. I'm curious to see though how their Green Monster ones are going to be.
Ooh.
I'm excited for Green Monster ones. Those are going to be
awesome. Green
the
Monster.
Yellow ones I'm not as big a fan of personally.
Texas is pretty good ones. I'm bummed they are replacing theirs next year.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of the Texas ones.
Do not like the Texas ones at all. Sorry.
So, all right. Well, your Jersey Corner is brought to you by Splash is over.
Hello. All right, but I'm excited too. I'm going to opening day tomorrow. I am so absolutely ready, especially with some of the news that was broken yesterday here, which I may or may not be repping right now about what that's about, but we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. We want to start off here with our predictions. Here, we have predictions here for our awards. Again, one day away from opening day, I think it's time we can make our predictions at this. So we have our AL and NL picks for MVP, Cy Young, and Rookie of the Year. And I'm being told by Splash there's not a lot of overlap. There's a little bit. Not a ton, though, which makes it, honestly, all the more fun because we're probably just going to end up arguing about it. But let's get things started here. For those of you that can see us on YouTube here, we will have our graphic up here posted along with as we're talking. If you're on Spotify, we're still going to be explaining everything, so don't worry about all that fun stuff. But also, hey, feel free to give us a like on Spotify as well as a like and a subscription on YouTube. Here, we're on there both ways, so it's fun to watch. Anyway, with that being said, let's start out with the big hitter. Let's start out with our MVP picks. Here, let's start in the AL. Who would like to go first on their list?
So I'll get started, and I wouldn't say I'm going too outside the box here, but my AL MVP is last year's runner-up, Bobby Witt Jr. I think Aaron Judge is. I believe Aaron Judge is the odds-on favorite. But Witt, last year won the Major League batting title, had 977 OPS, 171 OPS plus. He's a 30-30 guy for the second straight year. Led the majors in hits too. Plus, he improved significantly on defense, won a Golden Glove and a Silver Slugger. And I mean, he's going to be only turning 25 this year, and I see no reason why he can't get better. I'm not saying necessarily he hits 332, but maybe that on base percentage rises above 400. He slugs closer to 600. I know it's 589 this year. I could see him even having a 40-40 season this year. And the Royals, I think, I picked them to win the AL Central, and I think he's going to be a big part of it. So I think Witt wins, and it's the start of something big, I think, in Kansas City, especially for Witt.
Yeah, I will say I was definitely considering going with Bobby Witt here because, last season was absolutely incredible. And I think he's going to have another good season this year as well. Here, I did not go with Witt. I went with the easy pick. I went with one old Arson Judge. And, it's really hard to bet against this guy. Like, it's really, really hard to bet against this guy. He is, again, you take a look at pure hitters, right? He is all of that. He is one of the most feared pure hitters in the game. But on top of it, he's also decent defensively, and he's going back into right field here now with Cody Bellinger taking over the center field spot for him. So now, more than likely, that's going to keep him a lot more energized for the plate overall. So with that, I think that you're going to have stellar defense from him out and right, but he's also going to be mashing homer after homer after homer as well. So yeah, for me, I went with the easy Aaron Judge pick.
Yeah, you guys went 1 and 2. Depending on the odds that you look at, FanDuel, DraftKings, BetRivers, etc. Witt's won on some, Judge's won on others. It's pretty chalky. And I can go into my chalk predictions rant at the end of the episode, but I'm going to go with a guy who's been runner-up before, and he's won the important MVPs before. He has a couple World Series MVPs to his name. You might know him. His name is Corey Seager. Not quite as good as in 23. Of course, he was runner-up to Ohtani in 23. He still hit 30 bombs, had a 5-win season, was actually right around the same plate appearances despite the game discrepancy. And he's been a pretty solid defensive shortstop, so that helps getting five wins in 3/4 of a season. As of when I was researching, he's plus 1,600 on DraftKings, so not quite a plus 300 or plus 250 like a Judge or a Witt. And he's a stud. I think the Rangers are going to win the division, and Corey Seager is going to be a big reason why.
That's fair. My biggest issue when it comes to Corey Seager is injury, and can he stay on the field?
Yeah.
When he stays on the field, he's great.
The last 2 seasons, he's played 1.5 years combined. He has 12 WAR. Yeah. He was runner-up in MVP last year, or in 23. Like, we can't just forget that. And he had 5 wins last year. And with all due respect to Judge and Witt, I'm gonna lean on 150 years of baseball history. The guys who repeat 10 WAR seasons back to back, it's like Mike Trout and Willie Mays, and Babe Ruth, Barry Bonds. There's 4, maybe Ted Williams did it. It just doesn't really happen. I'm not saying that they'll never get back to 10, or Judge, for example, did it in 22 and 24. 23, conspicuously missing from that list. I don't think Witt's going to have a 10 WAR season again. Sorry. I think maybe the defense takes a half step back. So instead of being superlative, it's just really, really good. I don't think he's going to be a 170 OPS plus guy, maybe 150. So maybe he's a 7-win player. And then Seager comes in. And does anyone in baseball take better swing decisions than Corey Seager?
Juan Soto.
Juan Soto can be a little passive at times. Not quite like Vogelbach passive or Edouard Julien passive, not waiting to strike out, but Soto can occasionally. He's second on the selectivity list.
Yeah. Fair enough at that point. Again, I'm not saying anything bad on Seager. I like Seager, but I also do think he is the lesser of the 2 Seager brothers. But that's me wholly just being a homer for that fun bits. Anyway, let's move on to our Cy Young picks, and we'll go reverse this time. So, Splash, how about you start us off with your American League Cy Young pick?
All right, fellas, I'm going to start off with a question. After May 1st, who do you think had the best ERA in the American League?
After May 1st?
Yes, May 1st through the rest of the season.
Skubal?
Yeah, that's a reasonable guess. He was second. I'm going to give you the correct answer, and that's Hunter Brown of the Houston Astros.
Ooh, yeah.
He had a start, actually 2 really bad starts in April. He had one start particularly bad against the Royals. He allowed like 70 runs. He had a 2.51 from May 1st on. That's pretty good. He allowed an OPS below 600 in those starts, 147 innings. We talked about starting pitchers a few weeks ago. If you're allowing an OPS below 600, you're in that top echelon of pitchers. Every one of my top 5 had an OPS allowed that started with a 5. Logan Gilbert also had a OPS allowed that started with a 5. If you're good, you're going to have an OPS allowed that started with a 5. A couple lousy outings in April. I get it. And those count on the ledger for 2024. But guess what? Who won the Cy Young in 2024? Tarek Skubal, a guy who just balled out at the end of 2023, carried that momentum into 2024. And I think Hunter Brown is a real candidate to do that this year. He's sort of a co-ace with Framber Valdez. And the Hunter Brown looks like Justin Verlander. He pitches a little bit like Justin Verlander. But the Astros said, all right, you're a little bit different. And they acknowledged that they're different. And he really exploded after that Royals start and after a really bad start right at the end of April. So I think he's going to be number 2 on a lot of people's ranking the Astros list. But I think he'll be number 1 by the end of the season. And I think he's going to win the Cy Young 25-1, 30-1, depending on the odds.
I mean, that's definitely, I respect the idea of the decision. I'm not going to agree because I have a different answer, but I also understand where you're going. I like the homework you did on that one. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I can confirm of all the picks, I think either of you made, I have like the 18 on the board. I have the longest 5.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right, then I'll go next with Cy Young. Then, and this is my homer pick. I do not care what you say. I'm going Logan Gilbert. I think that Logan Gilbert is such an insanely good pitcher. When you watch Walter take the mound, not Logan Gilbert, Walter take the mound here, it is something to behold. There's a reason why he earned the opening day start over Luis Castillo this year. But you take a look at what he has done over his entire career. He has continuously gotten better and better and better each year. He is now on a team of aces. He's the ace of a team of aces right now. And on top of it, to give a little bit of an idea here, he's also a workhorse. He led all Major League Baseball in innings pitched last year at 208 2/3. Very, very good. Also, one other thing he's led all the majors in is whip. He had a whip of .887 as a starting pitcher that threw over 200 innings last year. That's Sandy Alcantara levels of workhorse here when he's fully playing right. But at the same time, he had a true breakout last year, right? Like, he's always been good. He's been good. Last year, he really balled out. And now he's in a contract year here where there's a lot of talk that he needs to get extended this year or he's gone. This dude is going to play like his life depends on it. And on top of it, you can't work around starting pitchers anymore when you go against the Seattle Mariners because you have 5 aces on that team. It's like playing Balatro, getting 5 aces as a hand, 5 of a kind. But at the same time with it, I think that you've watched him progress year in and year out here. And he's only gotten better here each and every year. The one thing that I want to make sure I'm bringing also attention to, his strikeouts have also gotten a lot more consistently better. He now has a strikeout per 9 last year of 9.5. Here with a career average of 9.1. He limits himself per 9 to only 1 walk and 1 home run. Solid is probably the best word you can use for him. It's also, by the way, a FIP of 3.27. I think that Gilbert, this is the year with everything that goes on, especially now with my boy getting extended and having the best catcher in baseball to work with. That's going to make him even better.
So I heavily considered Logan Gilbert for my pick. And I think he's going to at least be a finance this year. Like
he was
you were
a
saying,
finalist. He finished 6th last year.
Yeah. I think, like you were saying, Alex, he is the ace on a staff that has 5 very, very good pitchers that, could probably be the ace of any other pitching staff. So Gilbert really, really came on the last few years and broke out to be, that ace of such an elite pitching staff. But I have another Kansas City Royal. I have Cole Reagans winning the Cy Young in the American League. His strikeout rate went up last year. His walk rate went down. 3.14 ERA, but 2.99 FIP. He was fourth in Cy Young voting. I think that, when talking about the Royals and why I picked them to win, I think, Seth Lugo, I'm not quite sure is going to be able to replicate what he did last year, but I think Reagans is going to keep getting better. He's a young arm. He throws hard. And he, through 186 innings last year, I think we're looking at a guy who could throw closer to 200 this year. He struck out 223 batters this past year. I think I could see him striking out closer to 250. And, he could be a lot like what Tarek Skubal was last year. So I think the Royals have a pretty solid starting five. I think, honestly, it could be the best starting five in the AL Central, and Reagans is the ace of that staff.
I like the logic of that one as well, especially because I think Cole Reagans is one of those. I don't want to say dark horse, but he's one I'm not hearing mentioned as much. I think he's a fantastic pitcher, and yeah, he's 100% going to compete.
He was a guy in the Skubal vein last year, or in 23, red hot to end the season after he got traded from Texas, and was a hot name last year. And like you said, Alex, I haven't really heard him, haven't seen him scrolling through the Twitter, haven't seen him on mini graphics. I've seen the occasional Logan Gilbert. I've seen the NL guys we're going to talk about. I've seen them an awful lot. But yeah, Cole Reagans was really good last year. Not quite as good as Seth Lugo, ironically enough, but big lefty, just going to strike the world out. So I'm excited.
Yeah, all three of these starting pitchers can do a lot of damage this year. All right, so then we started with Splash, we started with Mac. We'll start with me then for Rookie of the Year here. And in the American League, I feel like there's definitely some big names that could take this award here. I considered a couple, but I ended up stopping on Jackson Jobe. I think that Jobe, as a starting pitcher to go alongside Tariq Skubal, is going to make him look even better here, right? He's had a little bit of success in the majors already here. Like, again, very, very little, mind you, only 4 innings. But during those 4 innings, has an ERA of a grand total of 0. And in spring training, had an ERA of about 3.25, which is pretty good. I think it's pretty good. Especially when you're working in an AL Central that's, let's be honest, pretty weak overall. You are going to have a lot of opportunities against a lot of teams that do not have the best hitting staffs. And so from it, he's going to be a little bit of a merchant on that, but that's not going to take away from the fact that he is a fantastic pitcher overall. I have him for my Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, he's super talented. There's a reason the Tigers drafted him so high, and he's a strong contender. But I'm going in a different direction, and I believe this guy hasn't been named to the opening day roster, but I'm going with Roman Anthony for the Red Sox. This guy can mash. He last year had 291 with a 396 on base and a 498 slugging, so an 894 OPS overall, and he had a 983 OPS after getting called up to AAA. This is a big league ready bat. He hit 18 homers, he stole 21 bases, he drew a lot of walks, which is good. 79 walks in 540 plate appearances. Yes, he did strike out, but he sort of traded the strikeouts for the home runs. So I think we're looking at a guy who's really tapped into his power. And I think when he makes the majors, he's going to be the everyday center fielder for the Red Sox. And the Red Sox have such a great lineup. So I think that being in such a high-powered offense will help his numbers a lot. So I think Anthony he and his teammate Christian Campbell are 2 strong contenders for the Rookie of the Year.
Speaking of Campbell, by the way, you guys saw the video of how he was letting known that he was in the
the Georgia Tech thing. Yeah, that was great.
His coach. Yeah. For those of you that do not know, coach was quizzing him on players that played for Georgia Tech that were in the majors, and said, "Oh, by the way, you forgot one. which was a gamble, and that's how he found out. Which I think that's such a
It's
cool
pretty
thing.
awesome.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, that'd be horrible if he had like, I don't know, like it got a gambling suspension or got like really sick and couldn't debut tomorrow. That'd be kind of well, like if he pulled like a Bauer, Trevor and like cut his finger on his drone, something goofy. Gotta love weird baseball injuries. But for my rookie of the year pick, I broke down the numbers. Half of the battle is picking players who will have enough plate appearances or have enough innings pitched. And it's almost a fool's errand to pick someone that's not on the opening day roster. I'll give Mac a pass on Roman Anthony because he's the number one prospect in baseball for some sites, or the number one non-Roki Sasaki prospect on baseball for some sites. But it was always strange to me that two pitchers won last year. I didn't vote for Luis Gil. I would have voted for Austin Wells. And Paul Skeens is once in a generation. Like, he came to baseball. He added a pitch in Double-A and was like, okay, this is now my best offering. Yeah, so both of my picks are position players in the American League. I'm going to start with Jacob Wilson of the A's. He's actually hitting for power in spring. I don't know if that'll carry over, but you know what is going to carry over? The 80 grade hit tool. We are talking Luisa Rise levels of contact. He had over 400 in the minors last year. No small sample size. It was like a reasonable enough sample. He hit over 400. He's fine at shortstop. You might have heard of his dad, Jack Wilson. He was pretty good. And I think Jacob will be at the top of the A's lineup very soon, ahead of the Rookers and the Butlers and the Soderstroms and the Shays. And when they're hitting their bombs, I think Jacob Wilson's going to touch the plate a lot. So he might be a 100-run guy. He could be if he hits, 330, like that's going to be a big storyline. And rookie of the year can really go off the board sometimes. MVP, Cy Young, we like looking at WAR. We have stats for that, right? Rookie of the year, sometimes vibes, like Luis Gil, kind of not great in the second half, but he was an all-star. He overcame
He wasn't.
He wasn't?
Nah, he kind of started slowing down before the first, by the end of the first half. So
okay,
he got left off.
Huh. Okay. Well, anyways, he was like perceived as like an all-star and was like a Cy Young contender for a decent chunk of the. Okay. Never mind. He was not an all-star, but he was perceived as an all-star. He was like a bit of a snub, perceived really highly early on in the season, and with Garrett Cole going down, like narratively, it made sense that Garrett Cole goes down for half the season. Luis Gil steps up, right? And I think Jacob Wilson will get some of the narrative. If he has a high batting average, if he's competing for the batting title in the American League, and if the A's are as good as I think they'll be a playoff team, over 85 wins. If they're doing that, they need something to go right, and I think Jacob Wilson will be the thing that goes right.
Yeah, no, my only concern with Wilson was the power. So if he does, say, hit even 15, 20 home runs, I think he's a strong contender. I do not doubt his bat, like his contact hitting ability. He does not strike out. He doesn't swing and miss. I'd also like to see him stay healthy. He unfortunately got hurt like his first game in the majors. So, and I was a pretty big Jack Wilson fan. I've said it before, and I'm
Repower Pres legend.
Yes.
It's somewhere above my desk right now. My Jack Wilson bobblehead. But yeah, I'm really, really curious to see what he can do over the course of a full season in the majors. I will say though, rookie of the year is easily the hardest award to project before the season.
Yeah, you could just go back to 2022, for example. Michael Harris didn't debut until the end of May, and he won it.
He hadn't even played above like Double-A, right?
Yeah,
like
in his career, he's played 40 games in Double-A.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Fun.
And we will talk about two high-profile AL West rookies in a little while, but
yes, we will.
For now,
But now let's move on to the National League side of these awards. Now, do you guys want to start at MVP, or do we want to work backwards on this one?
Let's work backwards.
I like working backwards.
Okay.
We'll start with the Rookie of the Year.
Time.
Matt, let's have you start here with your Rookie of the Year pick for the National League.
Yeah, so a couple of strong contenders here, I think. I'd say actually both leagues that it's like a decently deep field. Last year I know it was more heavily favored in the National League, or like the talent was more favored in the National League, but this year I'm going with Dylan Cruz in the National League. Cruz was, I think, the best bat in the draft. in 2023, just an absolute monster at LSU. And he was great in his first cup of coffee in professional ball in 23. Last year, his overall OPS was 792 in the minors, which is solid. But 13 homers and 25 steals plus 6 triples and 21 doubles. Overall, just a good, solid hitter. Like, yeah, he can hit for power when he needs to. He's fast. He's very athletic, can play solid defense in the outfield. And he broke into the majors last year. And while his numbers aren't necessarily super pretty, with the 641 OPS, he did steal 12 games. 12 bases in 31 games. You know what I meant. And only got caught 3 times. So I think we're looking at a guy who can be a 2020 at the least. So I think he's probably going to be the everyday leadoff hitter for the Nationals this year, or batting near the top of the lineup. So I think with all the plate appearances he's going to get, I think you're going to see a lot of Dylan Cruz highlights this year. So he's my NL Rookie of the Year pick.
Honestly, yeah, no. To be fair, it was between 2 people for me. It was between Dylan Cruz and the one who I eventually ended up going with, and that's Roki Sasaki. You watch what this guy did in Japan, and it's not fair. And now you take that and put it into a big league context. I think Roki is going to have himself one hell of a year. And it comes back to this argument that we've talked about beforehand of should players that have professional experience in other leagues be considered rookies? Because it almost feels like they're not at that point. But he is being considered as one. His pitch mix is incredible. His velocity is insane. On another team of aces, the Dodgers, he is another one of those aces, I think. Now, do I think he is going to be their number 1? Absolutely not. But do I think that he can be a very strong pitcher and his first campaign in the big leagues is going to be a success? I absolutely do.
So I do have half a step of pushback. I don't think the Dodgers have any sort of incentive to have Sasaki throw enough innings to be the Rookie of the Year. So I think you're sort of banking on being even better than what Skeens was last year. And I don't think Sasaki is like 10% as polished as Skeens was. And then with Cruz, I think of Cruz more as I think he'll be like a 3-win player for like 15 years. I don't know if he'll ever be like an MVP level player. He screams to me like Brian Reynolds. The tool's a little bit different, but if he's like a Brian Reynolds type player, if he's Brian Reynolds, I think, yeah, that was a good player. My pick is way out of left field. Unfortunately, he did not make the opening day roster for his team. That's Davison De Los Santos of the Miami Marlins. He's the thing that sucks is he's not currently getting an opportunity. They're going with Matt Mervis as their heavy power guy. I don't get it. Let him hit, please. He's been in like 17 different organizations. Just let him play at the big league level. I know there's big holes in the swing, but there are not many MLB players with the same power profile as De Los Santos. It's very, if you're a Cleveland fan, John Kenzie Noel. And if I'm banking on a guy, I'm going to take the guy to me that has the highest ceiling out of the hitter group in the National League. I think he's a guy that if you asked me to predict someone to break Pete Alonso's rookie home run record, De Los Santos would be the guy. Just incredible power. Led the minors in homers last year. Miami, you suck. Give him a chance. But even before that, he was 10,000 to 1 odds. So unlikely. So some actual picks that you might see value in. Rhett Lauder of the Reds. Again, I'm against pitchers usually, but he debuted at the end of last season. He's excellent. Caleb Durbin from Milwaukee. And then Cruz is a fine option. Sasaki, again, not a Sasaki argument. It's a Dodgers argument. So Davis and De Los Santos carry me to the promised land, buddy.
That's a very fair point to bring up.
Yeah, I think that's my thing is with Sasaki is that, like, I think Paul Skeens kind of last year set the bar of what you have to do if you're not qualifying for the ERA title, because he was like truly exceptional, like best pitcher in the majors after he got called up, and that's like I think Sasaki will probably throw I think he can get to like 140, 150 innings this year.
And I think that's even stretching it. And
I don't know.
Like watching his start in Tokyo, he walked 5. I have my over under half an option used. I'm hitting the over. I think he'll pitch at some point for Oklahoma City this year.
I think so too. Yeah.
And that will just sort of torpedo any chances of him winning Rookie of the Year. This isn't like a bet against him like lifetime, but the splitter is awesome. It genuinely might be the best pitch in baseball. The fastball is like we talked about Skeens last year that he didn't have ideal fastball shape, but he throws like 101. Sasaki,
his shape got a lot better throughout the year.
Sasaki's shape is weird or is like totally dead zone, and it's like 97, 98, which is still great. This is not but 97 with dead zone, like not good movement, is different from 100, so he doesn't have a third pitch right now. The Dodgers will get him a third pitch. Trust me, I trust them to do that, but I don't think this is the year for Sasaki, and I don't think this is the year like the Dodgers challenge a wins record or anything.
Yeah, I will say real quick about De Los Santos is that, yes, he did hit 40 homers last year.
Don't bring up the strikeouts, please.
Well, no, I'm not talking about the strikeouts even. I'm talking that his numbers after being out of the Pacific Coast League were not so great. 744 OPS in the International League. But that being said, he has excellent raw power. And if the Marlins don't have a ton to be excited about on the offensive end, but he could like instantly be a middle of the order bat if he gets called up.
Yeah, I think he's a guy that I'm blanking on his name. Derek Hall of the Phillies like debuted as their cleanup hitter. If Davison De Los Santos were to debut, he could realistically debut as the cleanup hitter in Miami.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's just a disaster. So, do you guys want me to go into my Cy Young pick?
Yeah, absolutely. Go
ahead.
So I am the one that is different. And I was torn between two options. They have the same odds generally. I am going to shout out Christopher Sanchez. He's getting a lot of buzz as like a quote unquote dark horse, quote unquote sleeper. Be serious. He was an all-star last year. We can't give everyone a dark horse label. We can't give everyone a sleeper label. Oh, Aaron Judge is going to win MVP. That's such a sleeper pick. No, it's not. Be serious. That's a bit of an extreme, but Christopher Sanchez, really good. I'm going to go with a different NL East co-ace, and I'm going to go with Spencer Schwellenbach of the Braves for, I guess, my homer pick, but Schwellenbach does everything I like pitchers to do. He's 35-1 on DraftKings, by the way. So the three primary traits I care about: pitch mix, velocity, and then command and control. Pitchers can succeed if they have one or two of these traits. I'll give Spencer Strider as an example. Great velocity, great fastball, great slider. The command can be shaky at times, and he only has the two pitches, but he dominates on fastball velo and being a dog. Spencer Schwellenbach, along with the Paul Skeens of the world, the Scoobles of the world, the Wheelers of the world, they get all three. They get the red, blue, and the yellow if you're a primary color guy. They throw hard, they have deep mixes, and they don't walk batters. Schwellenbach, 25% strikeout rate, walk rate below 5%. He has multiple fastballs. He has multiple breaking balls. Doesn't have much of a platoon split. And I think it's telling that as he pitched more and more against the best teams in the National League, he cooked them, right? He had some great starts against the Mets. That's a pretty good lineup, even without Soto last year. And he fooled them multiple times. And I trust Braves pitching development, and I trust this is a great room to be in, that you have the reigning Cy Young winner in Chris Sale. You have a guy who at time was the best pitcher in the National League in Spencer Strider. He's back. Ronaldo Lopez had a sub-2 ERA last year. You have Grant Holmes, who is a crazy slider. You have AJ Smith-Shawver, who is sort of like if you got the worst characteristics of a lot of pitchers and said you're going to throw 99, but it'll drop off immediately. Very actually reminds me a lot of Roki Sasaki, to be honest with you. But Schwellenbach, I think he has a lot of ways to succeed, and that's my bet here, that he has a path that even if he isn't hitting 96 on that given day, he has 6 pitches that he can throw. He can add pitches on the fly. He added a pitch as he got to the big leagues. I trust the development there. I trust the stuff. I trust that he's not going to, if he allows some homers, yeah, that'll happen. I trust that there's not going to be guys on base. I trust it's going to be hard to hit him, and I trust it's going to be hard to draw walks against Spencer Schwellenbach.
Yeah, if I were to pick someone on the Braves pitching staff, it would be Schwellenbach, and I honestly don't even know if it's that close. I think Chris Sale is great, but I don't see him replicating what he did last year, especially the injury concerns late last year. And then like Strider, we don't know what we're going to see from Spencer Strider this year. And I don't know if Ronaldo Lopez will be as good as he was last year. I am not picking any of those guys. I am going with, I'm pretty sure he's the favorite going around. That's Paul Skeens. I understand that maybe it's unreasonable to expect a sub-2 ERA this coming year. Frankly, I don't think he needs to have a sub-2 ERA to win the Cy Young. Even if he's close to what his expected ERA was, which was 2.53, or his FIP of 2.44, I think we're looking at a guy who's going to strike out. Honestly, if he pitches like 200 or so innings, I could see him getting close to 270, 275 strikeouts. Last year, he struck out basically 1 out of every 3 batters he faced. 1.96 ERA. He's adding pitches to his mix, supposedly, which is crazy. I think, is this guy a robot or something?
Yep.
And he doesn't walk guys. Like, he struck out 170 batters in 133 innings, and he only had a 2.17 walk per 9. 170 walks to 32. 170 strikeouts to 32 walks. That's over a 5-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. And I think he, even if his overall numbers aren't as pretty as they were this year, I see no reason why he shouldn't win the Cy Young this year. So I'm pretty sure the favorite. I believe he's one of the few favorites I had on my mind like immediately when I was thinking about this award. So Skeens, I see no reason why he shouldn't be the favorite heading into this season.
Yes, Skeens is the favorite on every site. He's ahead of Wheeler and ahead of Burns is up there. But yeah, Skeens is number 1 across the board. He's even more like across the board than Judge.
Yeah, sounds about right. And sounds even more about right because he's also my Cy Young pick for the NL. I mean,
took us until now to have an overlap.
I know, right? So at this point, right, what more do you need to say about Skeens? We have watched him over the course of all last year, and it became obvious that he was the best pitcher. Like, he was the runaway for Rookie of the Year, and that was in a race that also included guys like Jackson Chourio, that also had Jackson Merrill in it. And yet, Skeens was like but he's Paul Skeens pick on that. And now you have it where you have an entire year of Paul Skeens. Last year, you had him benched you had him in the minors for a month and a half, 2 months, something like that. Like, not very long, but as soon as he came up, it just exploded into this Skeens mania type feel. And it's for good reason. He pitched incredibly well. So now you get a full year of him. You get a full year of that. Again, knock on wood, staying healthy. But the last little bit I'm going to add on to this here is that there's a lot of talk about when players first make that jump to the big leagues. There's a little bit of nerves. They have to really do the adjustment period to being a Major League Baseball player. Skeens did that and still won a decisive Rookie of the Year. And now you get confident, ready to go Paul Skeens. I do not think it's close here.
Yeah, and I really wanted to pick Zach Wheeler too, just because it's kind of like the Chris Sale theory last year. Like, he's been waiting forever, and he's turning 35 this year, and like maybe he'll finally get over that hump and no longer be the bridesmaid. Win that Cy Young. But I can't pick against Skeens right now.
Yeah, I can't either. So now let's move on to our MVP picks here. I'll go first on this one here. And I'm going with Mr. Ohei Shohtani. Come on. He won it last year. I know this is the easy pick, but last year he won the MVP just being a DH. Now, after the next year or so, here after the first month or so, excuse me, he's going to be pitching again. So now we get MVP. I keep saying Paul Skeens. MVP Shohei Ohtani with pitching Shohei Ohtani. Like, yes, he's not going to be stealing as many bases. I understand that. That's fine. You still have a guy that now does both jobs again. We go back to the original discussion of that the MVP award should be renamed because valuable is the key word in it. And when you have a guy that is a number 1/number 2 starting pitcher on your rotation and is your number 1 hitter, including guys like Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts here, that is the definition of value here. Being able to take up both of those slots with one player that opens up another slot for someone else. Here, 2 for the price of 1, Grandma.
So, I think that Ohtani is almost inevitable that he's going to win MVP. I, though, went in a different direction. And this, I guess, is my homer pick. I picked Juan Soto. And he'll be the first Met to win an MVP award. And I think it's just really speaking to more than just his numbers. You know, I'm talking about making the players around him better. The Mets have a lot of guys that I think, you know, specifically Mark Vientos and Pete Alonso and Brandon Nimmo, that are going to play much better because they have Soto hitting in front of them. You know, Soto is going to be a guy who will probably have an on-base percentage up around 450. I think that's fair. Slug between 500 and 600, hit between 35 and 45 homers, and drive in well over 100 runs. And yes, his defense is kind of questionable. It's not great. It doesn't have great range, but I think, you know, because the pitchers are going to want to pitch around him more, and he has such a great eye. I think that means that Alonso and Vientos and Nimmo are all going to benefit from hitting behind him. I think they're all going to get much better pitches to hit. They're going to drive in more runs. Soto's going to score more runs. The team as a whole is going to score more runs. So I think just, you know, there's a lot of pressure. I understand when you sign the biggest contract in professional sports, but I think his impact is going to be what puts the Mets over the top this year. So that's why I think Soto, if it weren't for Ohtani, he'd probably be the favorite, but I have Soto winning MVP.
Yeah, to be clear, Ohtani is the favorite. Soto is second. Some other guys that if you aren't wanting to pick Ohtani, like if you think Ohtani is going to get in a gambling scheme again, Corbin Carroll was really good for 4 months last year. Fernando Tatis is incredibly toolsy. If you're picking Ronald, don't. Bad idea. Ellie De La Cruz is a popular, like, quote-unquote dark horse. He's not a dark horse. Just, again, with dumb narratives. My pick is Shohei. There's 2 ways he doesn't win it. First, he gets hurt. We're obviously not rooting for that. And even if he does get hurt, he might win it anyways. He did that in 23, and last year he didn't pitch and he won it. So 2 out of his 3 MVPs were in quote-unquote hurt seasons. Second, someone has to do something truly historic. Aaron Judge set the Yankees home run record, had a 200 OPS plus season.
That's the standard now, pretty much.
11 WAR on Fangraphs. So I would love to see Ellie steal 100 bases. I'd love to see Soto have a 200 OPS plus, unless he's playing the Braves. I'd love to see Churio go 40-40 or Tatis go 40-40 and win a platinum glove, whatever. It's just not going to happen. All 3 Ohtani MVPs have been pretty boring outside of the initial discussion of can a DH win an MVP, or the value proposition. It was novel in 21. The DH discussion was novel in 24. I don't think Ohtani's going to do much on the mound this season. I know he's like Superman in every way. He still has to hit in the Dodgers lineup. He can't go to Oklahoma City and have warm-up outings. So his rehab is going to be at the major league level. And as good as Ohtani is, if he's like a 4 ERA guy, it doesn't matter. That's adding value. To go back to the classic Alex point, he's won MVP unanimously 3 times. I think he wins it again this year unanimously. And it's a little boring, frankly. As great as Ohtani is, it's a boring conversation. Oh, yeah, who's going to win MVP? Ohtani.
Yeah. And that's what's so weird to think about now, that the MVP discussion has become boring. And as you said right now, Ohtani's MVP seasons are boring at this point now because he does everything so well that it just doesn't become a discussion anymore. You just go, okay, that's it. Done.
Yeah, so I do have a quick question for you, and this is kind of like a long-term thing, but Barry Bonds has the record, 7 MVPs. Do we think Ohtani breaks that record?
Absolutely.
I think he ties it.
I think he gets close, and I think he ties it too.
So Ohtani is
he's
under contract through 2033. He turns 31 in July.
Granted, Barry Bonds won an MVP when he was 40.
That's a good point. Barry Bonds also ate a balanced breakfast.
Yeah, 4 straight MVPs from his age 37 to 40 seasons.
Okay. I think Ohtani wins. If you set the line at over under 5.5, I think it's over. If you set it at 6.5, that's a really tough line.
I'm going to be honest here. I disagree. I think he shatters the record.
Shatters the record.
Shatters it.
I
think that right now he's at how many MVPs now? 3?
He's at 3.
Correct.
Yeah, he's at 3, right? At age 30 season, if he continues doing anything like he's been doing, right, I think he is going to just break it easy.
So, okay, I have some pushback. Ohtani doesn't have the cleanest bill of health.
Yeah,
that's my concern.
2 Tommy Johns.
Yeah, that is the biggest concern. Agreed.
Like in the biggest series of his life, he dealt with a shoulder injury. That really, I mean, he was like fine in the playoffs. He had a 385 OPS in the World Series.
He was great in the NLCS, but he was kind of underwhelming in the World Series.
Yeah. Whole playoffs as a whole, 767 OPS, which fine, whatever, you'll take that. But there's just
I think
so much.
Even a fairly healthy Shohei.
Close enough.
My own joke's got ahead of me now. I think that at this point, like even you were talking about that, some of his MVP seasons were hurt. He was playing hurt. And I think that as long as he keeps going on this, because even if he can't pitch, we see what happens when he can't pitch. It's called he steals a billion bases.
But I don't think the 50 steals are going to be like in perpetuity. I think he'll still be up like a great base runner, but I don't know if the Dodgers
stealing 40 years.
Yeah, I don't know if the Dodgers.
Still a ton.
Yeah.
And you add the power to all that. You add the fact that he's still hitting the ball a metric ton. I think it's incredibly likely.
So if I set the line at over under 7.5 MVPs, you're going over.
Oh, easy. Yeah.
Okay. Which would imply that he wins an MVP at 34 or later.
Yep. That's fine.
At least one.
Yeah.
The health and the age thing is what I'm considering too. Because
I understand that.
Like he's
30
right now.
Does he get to 10, Alex?
I'm very much considering that. Yes.
That would imply that he wins one at the minimum of age 36.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we obviously can revisit this.
This is going to be a podcast that when we're all like famous, living in wherever we're living at, here we're going to revisit. We're going to be revisiting. Alex, you guys are either going to say, "Wow, Alex was right," or "Oh, look, Alex is just talking out his butt again."
Yeah, wow, Ohtani retired with 3 MVPs. What?
Man, what a failure!
Okay, what is more likely? That Ohtani wins 10 MVPs or Ohtani stays with 3? I think even if you like mapped out the odds might say it's more likely he wins 10 because he's such a favorite. He's like plus 130 on
see, I'm going to say it's more likely he finishes with 3 than 10. Okay. Even though I just made this whole bet that he's going to. I think the main reasoning being is that every year something can happen, right? Mm-hmm. And if something goes wrong or something happens, then he doesn't win the MVP and all that. But I still think that he's going to win at least some. And it's weird to say for a player that it's like, yeah, they're gonna win a handful of MVPs.
Yeah,
Like that
A
sounds like
handful
you
of
win a
MVPs,
handful.
that's all right.
yeah, not bad.
Exactly. Yeah,
Not bad. It's sort of like I forget who it was that predicted Yuri Perez would win multiple Cy Youngs. And I like Yuri Perez as much as the next guy, but just picking a guy he's going to win multiple Cy Youngs is just kind of wild because that doesn't really happen.
Not very common, yeah.
And especially at the time Perez was 20 and unlike say Skeens this year, if you said over under 1.5 Cy Youngs for Skeens, I think a lot of reasonable people would pick the over because of how good Skeens was. Like he won the Rookie of the Year, he had a sub-1 ERA, yada 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 yada. And that was just, I don't know, it was a little wild. Although I do like Yuri Perez.
I think Yuri Perez is gonna be fun. Yeah.
Yes, to be clear.
All right, guys, what do you all think about our picks here? Do you think that any of us really reached just for content? Do you think that any of us really just took the easy way out? I know I probably look like I did. But at the same point, let us know what you guys think on YouTube at Losses Above Replacements or on Twitter at LAR_baseball. Here, as well as you can find us on Spotify and all that fun stuff also on Instagram. But it is now time here. We're having to call a little bit of an audible here. It's time for trivia here because we have Splash here who, I kid you not, has been hyping up this trivia for weeks, and I am excited for it. Says he's got a cool idea. I am ready to see it. Splash, the floor is yours.
All right. Are you both familiar with Uno?
Yes.
All right. So this functions as Uno rules, and I will elaborate more. I have every.
I am so scared right now.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Okay. I have every opening day lineup from 2024. All 30 teams, catcher
Great.
through DH, pitcher, yada yada.
Okay.
So every team, 10 players. There's 300 players total, right?
Yeah.
Your goal is to name as many of the group as possible. With the caveat, you have Uno rules to get to your next player. So this is 3 qualifiers.
Okay.
They have to be teammates with a player previously named, or play the same position as the player previously named, or share the same last name. So, for example, 2008, Chipper Jones, third baseman, Atlanta Braves, Andrew Jones, center fielder, Los Angeles Dodgers. That is a valid connection.
Yep.
Continuing with 2008, you can go Andrew Jones to Andre Ethier. They shared the same outfield with the Dodgers. And you can go Andrew Jones to Grady Sizemore, center fielder for one, center fielder for the other.
Okay. I'm following.
What are we playing to then?
You get 3 strikes.
Okay.
You get 3 strikes.
All right, I get it. So we don't have to call out Uno.
Correct.
All right.
Mac, please pick a number between 1 and 60.
45.
Alex.
I gotta go with the number 24.
It is 30. Alex, you may begin.
Okay, so I just gotta name a player.
Yes.
That's
so how to get strikes? 1, name a player that wasn't on the starting lineup. So if you named Garrett Cole, that would be wrong. Number 2, if you fail to make the connection.
Okay. Just now it's like I'm second guessing everything I know about baseball.
It's like, did he actually play this position or is he DH? I don't know.
Yeah, I was like, did they DH by chance? Right?
Well, you don't have to give me the position, but
okay.
The first one you just need to get on the board here.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna go with Eugenio Suarez.
Eugenio Suarez is correct. Diamondbacks third baseman.
Okay, I'll go with the guy who played third base for the Mets, Brett Beatty.
Brett Beatty is correct. Alex, third baseman for the Mets.
I'm going to go with another Met then, and I'm going to go with Lindor.
Francisco Lindor, Mets shortstop.
Okay. I guess I'll go with another Met then, Harrison Bader.
Harrison Bader, Mets center fielder.
All right, I'll go with another Met. Then I'm going to go with Pete Alonso.
Pete Alonso, Mets first baseman.
Okay. I'll go with. I'm second guessing myself kind of.
Yeah, now you see the pressure on
so
the first one
I think I believe this guy was still a starter on opening day last year. I'm going to the Mariners and picking Ty France.
Ty France, Mariners first baseman.
Yes, let's
Oh,
go.
thank you. Yeah, no, honestly, that's what I was hoping you were going to do. I'm so happy that you did, because now I'm going to move it to center field with Julio Rodriguez.
Julio Rodriguez, center fielder, Mariners.
Center fielder, Mariners. All right. I'll stick with the Mariners then. I'll pick Cal Raleigh.
Dang it!
Cal Raleigh, Mariners catcher.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do too. Okay, then I'm going to move to Jorge Polanco.
Jorge Polanco, Mariners second baseman.
Second baseman.
Second baseman. All right. Okay.
Mac, I'm going to give you a little bit of a warning here. I remember there being some injuries at the beginning of the year for Seattle last year. That's why I haven't gone to Seattle earlier.
Yeah.
I'm letting you know that as a friendly courtesy. I do not remember everyone who was hurt, though.
I'm jumping back to the Mets, though, because I remember I remember this guy getting in a fight with another player on opening day because I was there. It's Jeff McNeil.
Jeff McNeil, Mets second base.
Oh, yeah, that works. Okay, I was about to say, wait a minute. Rodriguez? No. Okay. So now we got McNeil. We've got second baseman and Mets. Trying to think of another second baseman that started.
Not so easy.
Oh,
I know.
No, I hate that I have to say this man's name. It's Altuve.
Jose Altuve, Astros second baseman.
Okay.
I want to win outlies my dislike for Altuve.
Okay. Man. I'll go with another Astro then. I'm gonna go with Alex Bregman. Let's go with Alex Bregman.
Alex Bregman, Astros third baseman.
Okay, I'm gonna stay with the Astros and say Yordangus Alvarez.
Jordan Alvarez, Astros DH.
All right. I'm gonna jump back to the Mets for a second then, because our DH, I believe, was DJ Stewart.
DJ Stewart, Mets DH.
Yep.
Ooh. Okay.
Cannot believe that guy was on the opening day.
Here's the thing. I'm struggling to remember other players that played for the Mets, so I have
the
to.
Mets, baby. Let's talk about the Mets.
It's like it's not about the money, Spider-Man. It's about the Mets, baby. Love the Mets. Come on, hit a homer, baby. Let's go, Mets. Okay, so you put what was the name one more time? I'm so sorry.
DJ Stewart.
DJ Stewart.
Mets DH.
So I have to then either name another Met on the starting rotation, a DH from any other team, or someone with the last name of Stewart.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
Tony Stewart, unfortunately, would not work. Martha Stewart would also not work.
Because she does not play baseball.
Yes.
Okay, this is actually a little bit more tough here, DHing. Because DH is always like a weird one, because you always think of players as like their main position.
Yeah.
Here. I am ready to go with a first strike here by chance as well here. I'm going to take a risk and go back to the Mariners to say Mitch Haniger.
Pal, that is a strike.
Yeah.
Mitch Haniger played right field on.
Oh, he did. Oh, he was actually in the field. Oh, I forgot. Okay. All right.
Yeah, strike one for Alex.
That's fine. Yep.
So Mariners right fielder Mitch Haniger.
Okay, so now I have to name a right fielder or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I guess I'll I believe this guy played right field on opening day last year. I'm going to jump to Arizona and take Corbin Carroll.
Corbin Carroll, Diamondbacks right fielder.
Let's go.
That's a really good pick. I'm going to jump as well to a different team as well for right field, and I'm going to say Kyle Tucker.
Kyle Tucker, Astros right fielder.
All right. Gonna jump back to the Mets and take Starling Marte.
Starling Marte
played right field.
Is right field for the New York Mets.
man, we're running out of the Mets now.
Yeah, I'm kind of familiar with that team. So
IGG, I wonder why.
I was also at opening day last year, so
yeah, that's fair. I was at Mariners opening day and sitting right by Hanagram. Apparently, I can't remember that he played deep.
Oh my god, man!
Good job, everybody.
Look, it's fine.
I get it, man.
Look, that was a year ago. Give me a break.
Yeah, no.
Alrighty.
All right, so now we got right fielder Mets.
Yep. Let's move
and
it along.
Marte. Starling Marte, right?
Yes,
Correct.
Starling Marte.
Okay, cool. Then I'm going to go to Ketel Marte.
Thank you. I was waiting for that. Ketel Marte, Diamondbacks second baseman.
Okay, so second baseman. All right. I can stay with the Diamondbacks. Christian Walker.
Christian Walker, first baseman, Diamondbacks.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm gonna stay with the Diamondbacks as well, and I'm going to say Zach Gallen.
Zach Gallen, starting pitcher, Arizona. I believe the
Nice.
first starter we've mentioned.
Yes. So. Yeah, you're right. I hadn't even thought of pitchers, if I'm being honest.
Well, here's the I've been trying to avoid pitchers because I cannot remember who some of the opening dayers were.
Yeah, I'll jump to the team I saw play the Mets on opening day. The Brewers, Freddie Peralta.
Freddie Peralta, Brewers starting pitcher.
All right, I'll jump back to my team then because it was Luis Castillo.
Luis Castillo, Seattle Mariners.
All right, I'll go back to my team then and go Jose Quintana.
Jose Quintana, New York Mets, baby. Let's talk about
Are there
that.
any more Mets even?
Yes.
There's one more Met.
Okay. Oh, so I have to name just another starting pitcher then, basically.
Yeah.
Who started for? Oh wait, Garrett Cole.
Garrett Cole is strike
Oh, he was
two,
injured.
buddy.
You're right.
That was the example he used.
I was
before
in the
show.
intro.
Oh my god!
I forgot about that. Sorry. Whoops.
All right.
Yes,
Well,
strike
as
two.
as our jumping off point, Mac, would you like to stick with Jose Quintana, or would you like to take the Garrett Cole replacement as starting pitcher for the Yankees? You don't have to name him. I will just offer it to you.
I'll take
and
the
that will be
Garrett
your
Cole
jumping off
replacement then.
All right. You are now jumping off from New York Yankees starting pitcher Nestor Cortez.
Okay, I thought it was Cortez. Okay. So naming another starting pitcher or another Yankee, because I don't believe there's another Cortez that started.
Hey, man. Hernan Cortez is just sitting there for you.
I know.
He's on the Aztec Conquistadors.
I was about to say though, Guangdong Tigers.
Yeah, Guangdong.
The Madrid Conquistadors.
Okay. Now I'm struggling to think of players. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand that.
Solid.
Okay. I will go with. Man, I why am I struggling right now?
It's tough, like because you also have to try to remember who you've already said because you don't want any duplicates.
Yeah. I'm gonna go. I think this guy started on opening day, and I'm kind of taking a risk because there are two guys I'm thinking of. Zach Wheeler, Phillies.
Zach Wheeler, Philadelphia Phillies starting pitcher.
Oh wow, okay. I was between
Okay,
two names, so
all right, then I'm gonna stay with the Phillies. Just keep this easy here. JT Realmuto.
JT Realmuto, catcher Phillies.
all right.
First
Then
catcher, I believe.
I'll complete.
No, we had Cal Raleigh earlier.
Yes, okay.
I'll complete the Mets lineup then and take Francisco Alvarez.
Francisco Alvarez, that is Mets catcher.
All right, so we need to keep on catch because now we can't go to any more Mets.
Correct.
Correct.
We also and we can use Yordan Alvarez because it's already been said.
Correct.
So we have to name another catcher.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, trying to remember who catches for each team. I don't. There's no way. Oh, look, I'm willing to take the third striker just because I want to say this man's name. Martin Maldonado.
Martin Maldonado, White Sox catcher.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, should have been.
I knew it.
Let's go.
All right, we are now on the worst team in baseball. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna take another backstop because I can't think of anyone else really on the White Sox. To
Tough
be
scenes.
completely honest. I'm jumping over to the Rangers and taking Jonah Heim, who had a walk-off on opening day.
It is Heim time, baby. Jonah Heim, Rangers catcher.
Nathaniel Lau.
My friends, that is the end of the game.
What?
Yep.
Yeah,
He was
that's 3
injured.
strikes.
Oh!
Ezekiel Duran started at first base, and Wyatt Langford started at DH. So Alex gets skunked here, opening day trivia. Shout out to Bob Feller, the only no-hitter on opening day. Yeah, so good
Until
job.
tomorrow, where Logan Gilbert no hits the Athletics. So.
Good job. Some fun names. Garrett Crochet made his first MLB start on opening day.
Yep.
He's gonna do it again this year if memory
Correct.
serves. Alex Wood started for the A's.
I did not.
I'm
Sure
so
thing.
glad because I okay. Here's a quick question for you: Was Shea Langoliers the starter for the A's?
Yes.
Sorry, catcher. Okay.
Catcher. Yes.
Yeah, that was another name I was thinking about trying to use. And...
Yeah. Some other fun ones. JD Davis, A's third baseman.
Right.
Kyle Farmer, Twins first baseman.
Yep.
Sorry, Twins second baseman.
Question: Was Austin Wells in the big leagues at this time?
Austin Wells was not. It was Jose Trevino.
Oh,
Yeah, he was in the majors, but he didn't start on opening day.
Arizona DH Blaze Alexander. Nick Martini hit 2 home runs. If you can make the Ellie De La Cruz to Brian De La Cruz connection. Brian De La Cruz, Marlins DH on opening day. Joey Meneses. We all remember Joey Meneses. Eddie Rosario playing center field.
For Washington?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Look, I'm just proud of my Martin Maldonado poll. That's what I care about.
That's fair. That's fair. There's only one low. Only one Lau in this case.
Was it Brandon Lau?
Brandon Lau. Josh was hurt, and Nathaniel was hurt. Jose Abreu still was chopping it up. Austin Hedges
for Cleveland.
Yeah, so only one nailer. Yeah, so and half of the pitchers are now injured.
That's
Bieber's hurt. Bayo's hurt now.
I couldn't remember.
I like how all 3 of my strikes were of players that were hurt and not they were not starters for that team. That's
Haniger played right field.
Haniger did play right field. I'm wrong.
Strider's hurt. Okay, that's it for trivia. Good job, fellas. Good job.
No, that was congratulations. That was a fun idea.
That. I really liked it.
I like the Uno shtick, and I'm glad there were only like 5 or 6 examples. Well, I guess there might have been more than 5 or 6, but I'm glad you actually hit one with Marte and Marte's.
Yeah, I'm glad I got the Marte one in there. And too far, I hinted at another one with the Alvarez to Alvarez.
Yeah,
but
the problem with that is like you can't do it yourself. You have to set up the other person.
Yeah.
So if you said like Salvador Perez for this year, you could say Salvador Perez and then Tigers Wenzel Perez, but you have to set the other person up.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Good job, fellas.
All right, but thank you for the trivia. That was a good time. It is now time for our final segment, the moment to ourselves, where we take a minute to talk about what's ever on our mind. It does not have to be baseball related, but it absolutely can be. Would any of you like to go first? All right, Splash, you're going to go first. I will count you down. You will begin in 3, 2, 1, begin.
All right. I've had a couple different ideas what I was going to do here. I'll go rapid fire real quick. Upsets are sort of bad for March Madness because it dilutes the quality of play moving forward. I know that's like sacrilege to say, but I like the idea of the Sweet 16 being a lot of 1 through 4 seeds, maybe like one outlier. This year it's Arkansas. They're a 10 seed. BYU is a 6 seed. So there's a little bit of variance there, but like at some point the slipper doesn't fit. 9 through 16 seeds since 1985 have never won the national championship and have never been to the national championship. So at some point the slipper no longer fits. To me, the best outcome for March Madness games is the Maryland-Colorado State game, that the better team wins on like a buzzer beater, wins in the clutch, wins in an exciting game. Because the next game is Maryland versus Florida, I believe. That is going to be a banger of a game. The Crab 5, that's a great one. My American League and National League most improved players, I thought we were going to do those today. Apparently not. American League Colt Keith, moving to first base. I think he'll actually hit. He hits both-handed pitching, both lefties and righties, which is nice in a lineup full of platoons. National League, it was going to be Gerard Encarnacion. he just hits the tar out of the baseball. Unfortunately, he is hurt again. So, yeah, that one sucks. I think that's all I have for you guys today. Toodles.
Yep, I understand. I mean, to be fair, I'm not big on the March Madness anyway, so
Yeah,
I enjoy March Madness. It's just that my brackets are toast.
Yeah, it's like like Mac, you were the Syracuse made it as a 10 seed to the Final Four, and like that's somewhat exciting.
Yeah,
but
it is.
It's Syracuse as the 10 seed. It's not like VCU made it as an 11 seed. The
St. Peter, not Final Four, but what
they
I mean.
made it to the Elite Eight as a 15 seed.
15 seed, yeah.
They lost by 20 to an 8 seed North Carolina.
Yeah. To be fair, I thought that UNC team was nasty. So
yeah, they ended up going to the national championship game, but
and almost winning it.
All right, and I like even as like UConn's won 5 national championships in my lifetime. They've won 3 of them as a 3, and a 7. Those didn't end up being like these phenomenal like Final Fours. Like the Butler game was one of the most boring games of all time, and they clobbered San Diego State in 23. It just ends up being, it dilutes the quality of the play.
Yeah, I get that.
Like I like the upsets. I like the seeing the moment, like the RJ Hunter shot against Baylor back when I was in middle school. Yeah. That's lit. The problem is Georgia State's a 14 seed and they get whacked the next round.
Or FDU against Purdue a couple of years ago.
It's the hope, right? It's the hope that if a lower seed can win in those games, that they can win against the other teams like that.
Mm-hmm. And eventually it waters down the product. And I think this year in particular is a very top heavy year. Like the 1 seeds off the chain good, 2 seeds off the chain good. There's a reason only one of them is lost, and they lost to a team coached by freaking John Calipari. That's easy to square the circle. Okay, that's the team that loses. That makes sense. It would be like if Rick Pitino was at Iona. If Iona pulled an upset, okay, it's the team coached by Rick freaking Pitino. Duh.
And I'll be honest, I was fully in on the Johnnies, and seeing them get eliminated was always slightly disappointing. It was, yeah.
All right, Matt, would you like to go next, or would you like me to go next?
Go ahead. I'm still gathering my thoughts.
Sounds good. Can someone count me down?
3, 2, 1.
So we didn't get to talk about it today. So I'm going to use my moment to talk about it. Cal Raleigh has been extended to be a Seattle Mariner for the next 6 years. When the news came across my phone on the top bit there, I think it was Mark who had the first one on it. I screamed. I was so happy. I was absolutely electrified. This is a guy that, along with Julio Rodriguez, you could build a franchise around, but also it leads into more things. It shows that you are actually building into your young core and actually investing in your young core, but also it gives the hope that just maybe we'll also be able to extend Logan Gilbert this year, and then potentially as well being able to extend Bryce Miller, Brian Wu here, George Kirby even. So you can have this generational rotation here. You could have this generational rotation for years and years to come, because at that point, when you have the pitching figured out, then you can at least work on the hitting here. And especially now when you have a new hitting coach and Edgar being the director of hitting strategy, this team, I think, is actually poised to make a run, but the signing and extension of Cal Raleigh is going to be marked down as one of the big dominoes that falls into the Mariners potentially winning a World Series. Mark my words now.
I mean, fair.
Super exciting, really, for the fan base, too. Like, I mean, obviously, Cal really deserves that contract, but, like, they've been waiting for, like, a deal to get done, and he was a couple of years away from free agency, and now they don't have to worry about it for a bit. I mean,
this is great for the vibes. I would honestly say that if this happened before we recorded the last episode, I probably would just have had the Mariners in the playoffs. One of my big reasons for picking the A's was they extended Butler, they extended Rooker. You know, they're investing in the team. They have the biggest signing in the history of the franchise in Luis Severino. So I'm a big vibes guy, and I think that was good for the vibes for the Mariners to do that. So congratulations, you're probably making the playoffs. I do want to quick touch on Cam Smith. Astros, congratulations. Playing fewer than 50 minor league games.
Playing right field too.
Exciting. Then Ryan Johnson of the Angels will be the first players since Garrett Crochet in 2020. First player in a real season, I'll be honest, since Mike Leake to debut with 0 minor league experience. Congratulations, Ryan Johnson. Hopefully you're more like the Dave Winfields of the world as opposed to the other pitchers
Mike Leake.
David Clyde.
Yeah, that one.
The David Klein. Yeah, thank you. That's a good one. All right, Mac, you ready to go?
Yeah, sure.
All right, your time begins in 3, 2, 1, begin.
Yeah, so pretty awesome weekend I had in Boston. I'll just say that. We had close to 20 people at the meet, which is it's big for us, big for a road meet that we got that many people to go up. But it was just awesome spending time with my teammates, and I was really happy with our performances. We did really well overall. We didn't have as many people as some other teams, but it was just it's fun spending time with these people. I'm not necessarily the most social person in the world, but this was a good time for me to be social. Met a lot of cool people. That's the great thing about these meets is that you meet like other people from other teams, from other cities, other backgrounds, varying level of experience with the sport, and it's overall just a great time. So, but yeah, Boston was awesome. Looking forward to San Antonio in a few weeks. I'll be leaving 4 weeks from tomorrow. But yeah, no, it was a great weekend. My ice cream from the hotel marketplace was great. I also may have had, I don't know if I was just really hungry after Saturday. I was at the pool from 9:30 until 7:30 on Saturday. But I feel like I may have had the greatest chicken wings of all time after the meet. I ordered a burnt ends sandwich, mac and cheese, and chicken wings. And I don't know, something about those wings were just amazing. I will say to Smoke Shop Barbecue in Boston, as great as the food was, how come the barbecue joint did not give me a fork or napkins? You're a barbecue restaurant, but still overall 5-star experience in Boston this weekend.
I was about to ask about the
no fork.
Yeah, but no fork. That's
like I get napkins can be like just in weird spots, but like no fork.
Yeah, so I ran downstairs to the lobby and got myself some silverware.
Good call. Very good call. But anyway, I think that's going to do it for us here today. Thank you so much for tuning into today's edition of Losses Above Replacement. Opening day! It's here! We're ready for baseball! And if you're ready to follow baseball along with us, then go ahead and subscribe on YouTube at Losses Above Replacement. Follow us on Twitter at LAR_baseball, as well as on Instagram. And also, give us a good review on Spotify and follow us on Spotify so you can always keep up to date with all of our shenanigans here. Make sure you go follow all of us individually. On Twitter, you can go follow Mac at Mathias_A_K. You can go follow Splash at Mr. Splashman19. And you can go follow me at the Sports Guy 242. But from all of us here at Losses Above Replacement, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe. And I hope to see you all real soon.